Hiya, I just wanted to show you the difference between normal crochet and Cro-faux. It changes the way crochet is made and how the stitches lay, how the fabric lays. As you can see, this is normal single crochet and it curls. This has been done in rows, going backwards and forwards across the work, turning on each row. This one's been done in exactly the same way, but with the Cro-faux method, turning the single crochets every row, going backwards and forwards with one chain to turn on each edge. So let's get to it. I'm going to use normal double knitting weight yarn and a number 4mm hook. So you find the end of your yarn first and start with a slip knot, which you just wrap around your finger, make a loop, pull that end through the middle of the loop and pull it tight. Okay, slip that on your hook and you can pull your long tail now to adjust how tight that is. Okay. Wrap the yarn around your finger and use this as a tension wheel. You see this hand and this finger just supports your stitches. So we're going to make 12 chains as your starting chain. To do that, you wrap your wool towards you around your hook and pull it through each loop like this. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you can see I'm doing it nice and loosely, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, okay. Now your last chain that you've just made is your turning chain. It's not going to get stitched into, it's just going to make a little U-bend so that you can go back along your row and it turns like that. So this is your first stitch. It's little loops that go around, each one is a stitch, and if you turn it towards you, you can see these bumps on the back, and those are the area, the stitch that we're going to stitch into. So from the second chain, this one, you insert your hook down into that back bump. Sorry, excuse the trick. You scoop your wool up like that towards you. Wrap it round again, pull through both loops on your hook. Continue into the next one. For your second stitch, go down, scoop up, wrap towards you, and pull through both. That's 2 single crochets. Continue to the end of the row. When you get to the end of the row and you have 11 single crochets, see that last one went right into the start of that slip knot that you put on your hook. Chain 1, this is another little turning chain, and you turn. Normal single crochet, you turn this way. Okay, single crochet into the first one like this, and you repeat the row. This is normal single crochet, backwards and forwards along the rows. Chain 1 and turn so that your wool is at the back of the work. So every time you turn this, you get the same effect on each row, and as you turn it, the row builds up and your work starts to curl. We don't want that to happen. So now you can see after 3 rows of normal single crochet, it's curling up. It wants to curl. It doesn't want to lay flat. And that is because all of the stitches are going the same way. Okay? What we are going to do is go back to the first row after those initial single crochets. Okay. We're going to chain one as normal. Now, instead of turning the work this way so that the yarn is at the back, that side, to come back normally, we're going to turn the work the opposite way so that the yarn stays to the back of your work, which is now towards you. And then you're going to come in from the back side towards you instead of away from you. You wrap the wool around your hook, pull it through, away from you, wrap it away from you, and pull it through. So opposite to forwards, everything is backwards, apart from how you insert your hook. Everything is the opposite to how it was before. It's mirroring everything. In, round away from you, through, away from you, pull through both loops, towards you, round, away from you, round, and through. Carry on. Sorry, I don't know what all the tooting is. Right, into the last one. Chain one, backwards. Turn it. Can you see? You now have a row. They're slightly slanted this way, and what's actually happened is you've performed the row coming backwards along, but from the front it looks as if it's been stitched left-handed, so as if you've took your hook out and come back this way, crocheting with your left hand. That is how the stitches are laying. From the back it looks like that, but can you see it doesn't want to curl. Insert your hook so that we're back to the front. Normal stitches where you go everything towards you, pull out towards you, like this. Carry on along the rows. Okay, chain one, turn it this way so that the yarn is this side. Come from behind, wrap it round, backwards. Backwards, through, backwards, through. There you go. Okay. You can see how easy it is. It flows, the rhythm is there, it doesn't slow you down in any way whatsoever with your stitches. It's just a different way of doing it and gives a far superior finish. as your work lays flat. You don't need to block it like you do with normal work, because you don't have to force the stitches to stay in place. They will stay in place naturally because the fibres aren't twisted in any way whatsoever. It's a fantastic technique. Again, come backwards, Cro-faux way. So, now you can see what's happening. You can see it's not curling in any way. Last stitch in there. Chain one. There you go. See, everything is laid flat. Everything is just as it is. And like knitting, the only thing that wants to curl is the top and bottom. It doesn't twist like normal crochet does, like this. If you pull normal crochet in any direction, it just wants to curl. It curls all over, and you have to actually block it, pin it down, steam it to make it stay in place so that it doesn't curl anymore. Cro-faux, it doesn't do that. The only place it wants to curl is like knitting. It wants to roll like this, which obviously lessens as it gets longer. It lays flat. There you go. That is single crochet the Cro-faux way. Hiya. I just want to show you the difference between normal double crochet and Cro-faux double crochet. So normal double crochet, you work your rows backwards and forwards with 2 chains each end, or 3, whatever your preference is. You go forwards one way, turn it, forwards the other way. So what happens is the front of your stitch is on one side and the back of your stitch is on the other side, and that alternates on each row. So you get these ridges that appear on normal crochet, and both sides are the same. And your work tends to want to curl, it doesn't lay flat, which is why you have to block it afterwards and steam it. You pin it down and steam it so that it forces all of the fibres to stay flat and in shape. With Cro-faux, none of that happens. Excuse me. Your rows are done alternating the same, with the same chains at the edge and everything else, backwards and forwards, but it has a very definite front and a very definite back, because all of your stitches are facing the same way, as in the front of your stitches on each row face forwards at the front of the work, and the back of the stitches face the back of the work. So as in knitting, there is a purl side and a normal side, and it lays flat. You don't actually have to block it afterwards, it just lays flat because all of the fibres are in the correct place and there is no stress making them want to twist and turn. So I'm going to show you how to do that using a number 4 hook and double knit weight yarn, and start by making a slip knot, which you wrap the yarn around your finger and pull the loop through the middle and just tighten that end. Slip it onto your hook, and we're going to chain 12. I call these inchies just because they have 12 chains. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You can see each chain has the chains that interlink, and on the back of each chain you have a little bump. We're going to stitch into those back bumps because it gives a neater edge on the finished product. We're going to skip the first chain because that's your turning chain, which you don't stitch into it. It's just a little U-bend that allows you to turn the corner without putting any pressure on these stitches. So that's your first chain. This is your second chain. You don't count the one on your hook. You take your hook and you put it down that back bump. Pull it up, wrap your yarn around towards you and pull through both loops. These are single crochets and we're going to do them all the way along those back bumps 11 times. So this is 2, 3, 4. I just use my finger to just open up the stitch a bit so I can get through. And you make your chains quite loose so that you can get in easier. If they're too tight, it will make your work pucker at the end. It'll be tighter than your rows, so it'll make your starting chain tight and your work won't be square. So make sure you do them loose or use one size hook larger for your starting chain only. Okay, your last one goes into that slip stitch at the very beginning, and that should be 11 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, we're going to chain 2. On front facing rows, everything comes towards you. The yarn gets wrapped towards you. The hook comes out of the stitch in front of your work towards you. And in normal crochet, you turn the work this way so that your yarn is away from you for your next row. And we're doing double crochet, so you wrap the yarn around the hook towards you normally, insert it through the 2 top loops, yarn around towards you, pull through, yarn around towards you, pull through 2, yarn around towards you, pull through the last 2. It makes a double length stitch compared to the single crochet, single width, double width, or height. Again, this is normal double crochet. Through, towards you, through 2, towards you, through 2. The hook is staying towards you all of the time. This is normal double crochet. We don't want to do this because what's happening is the front of the stitch is now at the back of the work. Remember, we've turned it. This is the back of our work facing us. That's the front. We are producing these stitches now normally, and the front of the stitch is now at the back of the work. We want it to turn it round. So I'm going to take that back to that beginning chain 2. Remember, this is the back of the work that's facing because we've turned. That yarn needs to be at the front of your hook on the back facing rows, not the back. And you need to wrap the yarn away from you, not towards you. Come in the back of the stitch, wrap away from you, pull through. So your hook is at the back of the work. Wrap away from you, pull through 2. You have to sort of jiggle a little bit up and then down between. Round away and through and at the back of the yarn, ready for your next stitch. Everything is away from you. You insert towards you, opposite to how you normally would. Wrap away from you, pull away from you, wrap away from you, pull through and away from you, wrap away from you, pull through and away from you, wrap to start again. Come through from the back, opposite to how you normally would. Continue all the way along the row. You'll see how easy it is, how natural it flows, because the yarn is automatically in the right place. It feels and flows naturally. There are no twisting of any stitches, of any chains or loops, and the back of the stitch is facing the back of your work. The front of the stitch is facing the front of your work. continue all the way along to the end. Got sticky hands because it's really hot in here and the wool's sticking. Okay, this is 9. 10. And the last one. It's just these 2 loops here at the top. Always go through the 2 loops on all of the stitches. That's your last one. Chain 2. Those are your turning chains, they don't get stitched into. And you turn. Okay, that's your first row of double crochet, and you can see that's the front of the stitches and that's the back of the stitches. We're now on a front facing row, so everything is at the back, yarns and everything. So as normal, double crochet, forwards, everything forwards because it was a front facing row. Continue as you normally would, normal crochet. Tangle load. Continue along. Exactly the same as you normally would on the front facing rows. 10, and the last one is just here. And those are your 2 chains at the end there. Chain 2 and turn so that the yarn stays where it wants to be. Don't force it to go round any corners where it doesn't want to be. Wrap it around away from you because it's a back facing row. Through both top loops, away from you. Way through, down. This is really important to go in between the stitch. What you're doing is mirroring what you're doing on the front facing rows. So you're coming and then forwards in between every movement of every action is back where you go down. Okay, down, away from you. Through 1, 2, and through 1, 2. Keep coming around. The yarn is always in a natural position, just to progress along the row. You see how it flows? And the last one. The chains at the end, away from you, and then turn so that your yarn is at the back. Now we have 3 rows of double crochet, done the Cro-faux way. It's not curling, there are no ridges, it's flat. Each side all of the stitches are facing the same way, so each row is front facing on the front and each row is back facing on the back. That's Cro-faux double crochet. Hiya. In a previous video I showed you how to do single crochet using the mirror stitch so that you get a flatter product fabric. So this video is to show you how to do that using 2 colours. This is standard single crochet, where you go backwards and forwards and do a single crochet in each row, and it curls. It wants to curl because all of your stitches are basically twisted because each row is going the same way, opposite directions. The stitches are going in opposite directions, which I'll explain as we go along. Anyway, so this one wants to curl both sides. You get these ridges. You have to block the finished product. It doesn't lay flat. It wants to curl all the time. So this Cro-faux way, I call it Cro-faux because it's leading. This is the second stage in teaching the process of what I call Cro-faux. So stage 2 is learning how to do striped using single crochet mirror stitch. And this way it lays flat, and it has, like knitting does, a purl side, if you like. The yarn's carried up the edges on both sides, so you have a neat finish to make your border into. You don't have to cut the yarn at the end of each row, and it lays flat. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that. If you haven't seen the previous video on how to do the single colour, I'll leave the link in the comments description thing below. Sorry, I'm very new to YouTube, so I'm finding a way around it still. Right, so please do watch the single version first, because it really goes in depth about how the stitches twist and work, and then this one continues on step 2. So this is a slip knot, which you just pull through like that. Now this, when you do it this way, this tail can't come out when you in the finished work. You can just tuck it in. It's not going to come undone, because this knot done this way, when you hold this edge in this hand, wrap this yarn around there, pull that loop through the middle. Look where this tail is going. It's coming all the way through the loop, all the way around the back, all the way through here, and all the way, and then this is what you make your stitch into. So this tail can't come out, it can't unravel, because that knot is holding all of that together, and then your crochet is being made into this first loop. So you have to pull your working yarn, you see, to tighten that loop. This loop, you can't pull it, it pulls this one, so it's impossible for this to work loose. Don't worry about this yarn coming loose, this tail. So a knot, that slip knot, is fine, and it's secure, very secure. Okay, that's your first chain effectively, and we're going to do inches. I call them inches because we start with 12 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, before I go any further, let's get a bit dim in here, so I'm just going to put this light on. Oh, there you go. Right, so that 12th chain we did isn't going to get a stitch made into it. It's just a little U-bend to allow you to turn the corner, and we're going to come back along and put 1 single crochet into these 11 stitches along here, with the 11th one in that slip knot at the beginning. We're not going to go into these loops here. We're going to turn it slightly and find those back bumps. You see those little back bumps? We're going to go down into that back bump. Down it like that. Can you see that on the camera? down there, pull your yarn through and do a single crochet. Again, please do watch the previous video. I'll leave the link down because this is step 2. We're going to make 11 single crochets across the row. This is row 1. Okay, when we get to the end of this row, I'm going to chain 2 and just pull up a loop because we're going to change colour to do the second row. So chain 2 there. Now can you see that last single crochet is in the slip knot there, and all because we've gone in the back bumps, it's left a lovely neat edge of those the two loops of the chain on the bottom, so it's really neat. Right, we have 11 single crochets in yarn A with 2 chains at the end. Now we're going to switch to yarn B. Make another slip knot, the same as we did before, so that it's nice and secure. Hold your tail in your non-dominant hand. You might be left-handed, so wrap your yarn around, pull through the middle, just pull it tight. Then you can adjust. Try not to pull on your hook because it weakens and people actually snap the hook, and I mean I would cry if I snapped one of my hooks. So try not to pull on your hook too much with the pressure. Take most of it with your finger. Okay, I'm going to start row 2 with a standing single crochet just in that first stitch. Standing single just means you start with it on your hook. Go through both top loops, pull through a loop, go through that loop that you've just pulled up, and also the slip knot that you made. And that is now a standing single crochet, and it looks the same as a one that you made normally. Okay, so we're going to continue along the row with normal single crochets. We're going to make that stripe. 11 single crochets, all front facing, because you haven't turned your work. You started your row at the right hand edge. It's going in the same direction as your first row did. And that is the last single crochet, and then you're just left with the chain 2s. I also want to chain 2 on here, and I will explain why. So we now have a B coloured single crochet above each A coloured single crochet for row 2. Now we're going to change back to the first colour. We're going to turn the work. I'll separate these so that you can see them properly. Excuse me. So we're going to put a hook back in here, pick up this blue loop again for yarn A, and this chain 2 here is just going to carry up the side. It's 2 chains because one chain counts as the same depth as that row, and the second chain means that it's got a little bit more height to get above for your next row to continue above there. So we're going to insert the hook. This blue row now, row 3 in yarn A, is going to come back along on row 3 in the opposite direction, as if you've come back with your non-dominant hand. I'm going to demonstrate that. You make sure that yarn B is at the back of the work, facing you, because now the back of the work is facing you. So yarn B is on this side towards you where the back of the work is. Yarn B stays there. your working yarn on yarn A continues up the side, and you have your working yarn towards you at the front of you. Please watch the previous single crochet mirror stitch video for the full description of this in depth. You come in the opposite way, you wrap your yarn that way away from you. Everything on the mirror rows, back facing rows, everything's done away from you. Come through, round and through. Okay, again, come in the opposite way to what you normally do. Pull your yarn through, grab again, wrap it round away from you, pull through both. As you come out, you go away under your yarn. Okay, continue along the row. Previous video shows this in depth, in slow explanation and whys and hows. This is to show you how to change the colour to make it striped rather than one. But the actual mirror stitch is explained in full in the previous video. I'll leave the link below. Last stitch. There you go. Chain 2. Pull through your loop. And there's your mirror row. Okay. Row 4. B colour. B yarn comes back, and we continue and repeat what we've just done with the row below. The chain 2 from row 2 continues at the side as this one did. One chain gives us the depth of the row above. The next chain gives us the extra height to make this row above, so that the stitch isn't pulled. So we reinsert the hook, turn the work over, back facing, everything this side towards me, and everything is wrapped away from me. Stitches are completed away, and we continue for row 4. So this is how to do striped single crochet using mirror stitches, and is stage 2 of learning Cro-faux. Again, we end with 2 chains, pull up that loop, let's have a look. Right, now we've got 2 rows here, 2 chains here. We're going to continue with this yarn, so we'll bring that in front of that one. These 2 chains are going to carry up the side. Remember, your first chain allows for the height of this row, the second chain allows for another row to go on top and brings your stitch to the right height to continue this row. This time we're going to be front facing. We're going to start the row as normal. We'll do a single crochet 11 times across the row. So reinsert, make sure yarn B is at the back of your work, behind your work and your yarn. Insert into the first, chain 2, pull your loop, and there's row 5. Okay, row 6, there's your chain 2, it's going to continue up, bringing your next row to the correct height. I hope you can see what I mean by that. So you see the top of this chain here, these are your 2 chains, so that chain brings you to the top of this row, and then the next chain allows you to start that row at the correct height. These are your turning chains, as in row 1. This one let you do that little U-bend, this is allowing a taller U-bend. So continue for this row. To the last one, chain 2, and you repeat this to your required length. Okay, and you end up, this is 11 rows, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, it's not 12, 13 rows. Okay, so you can see there. That's single crochet, striped, 2 colours, using the mirror stitch, mirror single crochet, and you get a pearl effect on the back. Okay, so that's 2 colour, and you will find 1 colour in the previous video, which is in the link below. This is stage 1, this is stage 2, Cro-faux. Thank you for watching, and I'm going to now link on to another video which will bring you to learning stage 3, which makes it a little bit more prominent, the stripes. It's a different way of doing it, and you still have a reverse. Look, isn't that cool? Anyway, so that's the next video. Like, subscribe, share, keep up to date. There'll be links to patterns below, and really YouTube's going to be the best way to keeping up to date, when you'll get pinged every time something new comes on, and there's a fantastic new pattern coming soon for this technique that I'm teaching. So please subscribe, like, press the bells and buttons and things. Thank you.